Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Noble Blizzard GX back for another update on my Volcanic deck. And I know it's been a long time since I've done this, but I finally just recently got back into the game with my friends and just just ready to play the brand new format. Got some brand new cards and some new text to show you guys. So right now I'm playing a stun variant of Volcanics at the moment, with like a couple of brand new texts to show you. And I hope you guys would consider them and try them out yourself, just like changing up the ratios and everything. So here we go. First we have the obligatory 3 Volcanic Rocket, the 3 Volcanic Shell, and the 3 Volcanic Scatter Shot, which is pretty standard, I guess. And I only played 2 Firestorm Guards because I think I've stated this before. I hate running this at 3. It clogs like far too much at 3 since Guards is pretty dead early game when you have like no grave set up. And just because of that, it really bugs me. It really bugs the consistency of the deck a lot. So just like opening 2, having no back row outs, and just like the card just doesn't really do anything. I haven't had really too many complaints about running 2. 2 has been perfectly fine for me for the most part. And Emerald covers like the rest of the recycling anyway, so I have no problem just like running 2 guards. Up next, I played 2 Heroic Champion Assault Halberd. I've also stated this before, but this is such a really nice card, and I feel like it's one of the most underrated cards in World Superstars. Pretty much a very splashable card in any rank 4 spam deck. It's an 18 beater that just like pierces. It can search another copy of itself. It gives you access to rank 4s, and overall, it's just like a really great pressure tool that could potentially bait out your opponent's stuff. And really love the card for the most part. I think 2 is kind of like fine. I might bump it up to 3 if I still feel like I need more. But just like giving me access to rank 4s, being able to just like beat over stuff, and just like being a searcher himself, he's just like a very nice standalone card. And I feel like not enough people are giving him enough credit to try him out. So that's why I'm running 2. Up next, since I am playing the stun variant, I am playing 2 Fossil Dino Pachycephalo. And of course, since the format is still pretty much like the same thing with a lot of special summon heavy decks like Necros, Burning Abyss, Klee still pretty big, Satellar's, Ritual Beast, all of that stuff, and all the new Pendulum cards that are about to come out alongside the Red Eyes cards, you definitely need like some more anti-special link cards going. And I do have a couple of cards to make Fossil Dyna very effective in the deck as well. But overall, Dyna is a really nice meta call. And of course, the flip effect that he has that blows up all special summon monsters when you set him is still pretty decent. But I will show you guys what I am running to actually make this guy effective. And of course, I also run Thunder King Raya because there's still plenty of searching. Necros is still a pretty big, pretty big deck right now. And of course, one of the more popular decks floating around is the Towers Turbo deck, which tends to run like a ton of search cards. So opening this early game against that build, or maybe, getting them in a position where they need to search like a scout or something like that, and then you summon this, it's really painful for them. So definitely Thunder King's really nice, being a beater himself as well. And of course you do run plenty of traps and protection to keep him safe and make him like a major nuisance for other players. And the last card in my monster lineup is the 1 Summoner Monk. I hate running 2, and I feel like he still kind of clogs a lot too, and there are a lot of situations where I tend to like not open any spells. I hate it when people negate his effect when I end up pitching a spell, which is like if you ask me, it's a really big risk and a really big minus. He's been perfectly fine at 2. I try not to focus too much on trying to get Rocket out of the deck. I get Rocket a lot of the time anyway with all of the draw power and dualities and such. So Monk hasn't really been that much needed. I feel like he's perfectly fine at 1, so he doesn't really clog. And just like sitting in your hand, hoping you draw a spell or something. But yeah, just like 1 is fine for consistency purposes, rank 4 plays, and access to stuff like Fossil Dyna and Thunder King early on. So that's really nice as well. So that covers my monster lineup. For the spells, I run Dark Hole because I'm poor and I don't have a Regeki. And also Book of Moon, which is also a really nice utility card. Very great in this deck because effects are a major part in this deck with cards like Volcanic Rocket and Royal Firestorm Guards. You really do need those cards to get off, and you don't want people dropping stuff like Veiler or Fiendish or any kind of like effect negation on them. And it comes with its other uses as well, being able to stop attacks and rank 4 plays and all that good stuff. So Book of Moon overall is still a really great utility card. And of course you can kind of use it for Fossil Dyna's flip effect, I guess. But that's pretty much that. Up next, I played the 3 Pot of Duality for consistency, and the extra copies can also be monk food, and just like pretty much grab all of your essential stuff, because this deck doesn't really have too many searches of its own. I also played 3 MST. As stated before, Klee is a really, really big deck right now, and so are the other brand new Pendulum cards, such as the Magician, stuff like that, and I also need like answers to Floodgates, especially because, of course, there's like still some Ritual Beast players like floating around, and they have like stuff like Macro, DeFi. BA still has plenty of traps with Phoenix Wing and Fire Lake, and you kind of like want to have like something to preemptively hit that kind of stuff. And of course, as always, you can always hit your own reload if you want to set off a scattershot play. So MST does have a lot of utility in this specific deck as well. Up next, I play 2 Forbidden Lance, which is kind of like the same reason I also play MST and Book of Moon. I do want to have like answers to back row. There are some cases, of course, because I'm playing a Sun variant with Fossil Dyna, there are times where people do want to drop stuff like Dark Hole or Regeki or some like some sort of spell or trap to kind of like remove Dyna off the field, or all that stuff, and I do want to protect them using this card. Sometimes they also want to run it over, and of course Forbidden Lance by itself is a great battle trap. Volcanics are known to have like a very, very minimum, they're kind of like pretty low when it comes to attacking power and beaters, as in, because like a lot of the time you'll be facing up against decks that run like 2k beaters and stuff like that. They can easily like make those, so you do need like kind of like battle traps to kind of like keep them at bay, because most of your stuff tends to be like 1900 unless by some chance you manage to successfully get off a rank 4, and even then at times you do need like some way to kind of like keep the battle cards off of bay. So yeah, Lance has been pretty good for me for the most part. I really love it. Up next, I run the 2 Magic Planner for draw power, and I've been perfectly fine with 2. I haven't really needed the third one, and I don't really want to spend another $10 to $15 just to get another copy. 2 has been perfectly fine for me. I really don't feel like the deck needs 3. And lastly, this is pretty much probably something, like the best tech I've tried out recently, and I really love it, and I highly suggest that you guys try it. But this card is pretty much called Moon Mirror Shield. It just recently came out in Crossed. I believe the pack is called Cross Soldiers or something. I think, or was it Clash of Rebellion? I don't know what the pack is, but it's the most recent pack, and it's probably like one of the best techs I've ever put in the deck so far. I really, really love this card. So if you guys don't know what it does, it's an equip spell, and the effect is if the equipped monster battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, the equipped monster's attack and defense become equal to the attack or defense, whichever is higher, of the opponent's battling monster. Only it's over 100. So during damage calculation, and that only applies during damage calculation. So also, if this card is face-up card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you have to pay 500 life points, and you have the option to put Moon Mirror Shield either on the top of your deck or the bottom. Now, if you're asking why this is good, well, as I stated before, the Volcanic deck tends to have like a major lacking in beat sticks, and it's definitely like one of the weaknesses the deck has. Especially if you don't have like a scattershot play, you a lot of the time, or like a decent amount of traps. Sometimes you tend to find yourself struggling with your opponent's like 2k beaters. Like everything just like starts running over your rockets, your base, your rank 4s and everything. Your Firestorm guards are all getting beat over by that stuff, or the only monsters that you have in your hand are Shell and Scattershots, and you desperately need like a beat stick to kind of like maintain your tempo, keep your field presence up, and make sure that your opponent doesn't just like kill you by beating you down. And this is definitely one of the best cards to pretty much like get the answer for that. As I stated before, the reason why Fossil Dyna has been pretty effective is because of this card. I've won like plenty of games with just this setup alone during testing. Fossil Dyna plus Moon Mirror Shield is definitely one of the best setups this deck can have. It's basically an Archlord Christia that you can't run over. You can easily just like summon it, equip it with this, and your opponent has to waste a spell card like an MST, a Dark Hole, or a Book of Moon or something like that to just like get over this. A lot of the decks that we're up against right now, such as Necroz, will have a hard time dealing with this, and as I stated, they're going to need like all of those stapled spell cards just to get over this card, because they're going to have a rough time. They can't simply run over this card anymore, and they just have to like find like another way to get an answer out of it. So yeah, I've won just like so many games just by summoning Dyna, equipping it with Moon Mirror Shield, and just like beating over them. And sometimes I've even managed to maintain my field with just like summon a Volcanic Shell if I needed it. I had like no other beaters left in my hand, and I would just like summon Shell, equip it with this card, and in some cases where they would like remove the shell, I can pay 500 live. I put this on the top, activate Shell's effect next turn by paying 500 to search another shell after I drew this on my draw phase. Equip another one, and the cycle continues. Basically, you have a shell that can basically run over anything. And since Towers Turbo is a really popular deck right now, this can also get over Towers as well. So you do have an answer to Towers right now. It's this simple little equip spell. And for those of you guys who like to run Double Summoner Monk, or if you still like Monk in your deck, that's another application that Moon Mirror Shield also has. So if you have a Monk that's just like sitting in your hand, and you desperately kind of like need a spell right now, if your opponent just like somehow manages to remove your monster or something, once again you paid the 500 life. This goes to the top. You draw it next turn, and you have a guaranteed spell card to pitch for Summoner Monk. So definitely try this out. I've been really loving this card a lot, and I feel like it's just like one of the best techs to ever put in this deck. Once again, Dyna plus this, or Ryo, or Shell, that just like gives the deck like options to like so many potential beat sticks. So you can just like give it to any monster you need, and if you're facing like something that's just like over 2k or something, you can just like easily beat over it. So that's why I run it. I just like really love the card. It's really hilarious when it goes off. And that's pretty much covering my spell lineup. So for the traps, we have the 3 Reload, the 3 Fiendish Chain for effect negation, the 1 Torrential for just like mass removal, because you kind of like need that, especially against the Pendulum decks and stuff like that. The 1 Mourning, because it's still pretty effective against Klee. It's effective against Tower Turbo. For Necroz decks that like to play Denko Sekka and such, yeah, this is another answer for it. And overall, Warning is just like a really effective card right now, especially against Pendulums. So there's that. I also run Vanities, and the last Trapper lineup card is Call of the Haunted, which I'm still kind of like contemplating at the moment. It's a really nice card overall, I would say, because you can bring back stuff like Rocket or Fossil Dyna or Thunder King if you kind of like need to kind of like catch your opponent off guard, or you definitely need to get a search off for Rocket, so, or potentially get a rank 4 play as well. So Call of the Haunted is just like something I'm currently testing right now, and of course it's also planner food. But that's pretty much it. And that covers the main deck. I'm not really going to show a side, and, this is pretty much like the extra. I don't know what else to really tell you about the extra, other than its basic rank 4 spam stuff. Emerald being like one of the best cards to have, because we lost Chain, and you have like the usual stuff. I'm missing like a couple of cards, because I do have some friends who are borrowing like a couple of cards in the extra as well. I know my friend Sanojana is currently borrowing my Exiton, and I do need a Diamond Crab King for Towers Turbo, and just like any other rank 4 stuff that I'm missing. But that's pretty much it. And that pretty much covers my deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I do hope that you guys consider out the brand new techs that I've been trying out. So far, I've been pretty successful with them, and they're doing pretty well. I haven't really played like a locals yet so far, but I'm hoping to take the deck to a tournament and just like giving it a shot and just like see how it does. I guess that's really all I have to really talk about, I guess. And hope you guys look forward to my next update. I'll probably be posting some some other decks on my channel as well, if you guys are willing to check them out. But that's pretty much all I have. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is your host, Noble Blizzard ZX, signing out.